Imagine this: you're going through life, just handling your everyday problems, minding your own business, when suddenly, strange things start happening. What do you feel? Like you're out of sync with the world around you? Maybe you start noticing patterns or symbols. You feel disconnected from the things that used to ground you. Or maybe you're hit with a wave of emotions that seem to come out of nowhere. You brush it off, telling yourself it's just stress, or maybe you're tired. But what if it's something more? What if these are the early signs of a spiritual awakening? What if the universe is trying to wake you up and you're just not paying attention? Let me tell you something. Ignoring these signs could be the biggest mistake you'll ever make, because when the universe starts speaking to you, when your soul begins to stir, it's not something you can just shove under the rug. It's not something that will just go away if you ignore it. In fact, the more you resist, the louder these signs will become. And trust me, they can get real loud. So, why do people ignore these signs? Why do we dismiss the very things that could be the key to unlocking deeper meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives? It often comes down to fear. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of change. Most of us are so attached to the identities we've built, the routines that keep us comfortable, that the idea of a spiritual awakening feels like a threat. It threatens to tear down everything we think we know about ourselves and our place in the world. And that's terrifying, right?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
But here's the thing. Spiritual awakening isn't about losing yourself, it's about finding your true self. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning, the societal expectations, the false identities, and getting down to the core of who you really are. And yes, that can be uncomfortable. Yes, it can be messy. But it's also the most liberating thing you'll ever experience. Now, let me ask you something deeply personal. What would happen if you stopped running from these signs? What would happen if you leaned in, if you surrendered to the process instead of fighting it? Because I can tell you, the universe will keep sending you these wake-up calls, and they'll keep getting more intense until you finally pay attention. Let's talk about what some of these signs might look like. Maybe you've started feeling disconnected from things that once brought you joy. Your job, your relationships, your hobbies, none of it brings you the same satisfaction anymore. You might feel restless, like something is missing, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. Or maybe you're suddenly drawn to dry cars, spiritual topics, to meditation, to nature. You start questioning the status quo, the deeper meaning behind things. You might even feel a strong urge to be alone, to reflect, to go inward. These are all classic signs of spiritual awakening, but because they feel so unsettling, so unfamiliar, people often them as just a phase or assume they're having a midlife crisis. But what if this discomfort is actually an invitation? What if these moments of unease are the universe's way of shaking you up, pushing you to grow, to evolve? And here's the kicker. The longer you ignore these signs, the harder it becomes to align with your true path. When you resist the pull toward awakening, you stay stuck in the old patterns that no longer serve you. You cling to outdated beliefs, to toxic environments, to relationships that drain you. And over time, this disconnection from your true self can manifest in all kinds of ways: depression, anxiety, chronic dissatisfaction, even physical illness. Your soul knows when it's off course, and it will keep sending you messages until you start to listen. And so, let me ask you, what's at stake if you continue to ignore these signs? What parts of yourself are you sacrificing in order to maintain the illusion of comfort? Here's the thing about spiritual awakening: it's not easy. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever go through, but that's exactly why it's so important. You see, we live in a society that's obsessed with comfort, with convenience, with instant gratification. We're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us to avoid discomfort at all costs. We're told to chase happiness, to seek pleasure, to numb our pain with distractions, whether it's social media, shopping, food, or binge watching Netflix. But here's the truth that no one really talks about. True growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you're pushed to your limits, when you're forced to confront the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. And that's exactly what a spiritual awakening does. It shakes you to your core. It forces you to look at the parts of yourself that you've been hiding from, the parts that are wounded, the parts that are yearning for healing. This process can feel incredibly isolating. You might feel like no one around you understands what you're going through. You might even start questioning your sanity because everything that once made sense in your life suddenly feels foreign. But let me tell you, you're not alone. In fact, this is a universal experience. Every single one of us, at some point in our lives, will be called to awaken. For some, the call comes subtly, a whisper, a nudge. For others, it comes like a storm, a crisis that forces them to radically reevaluate their lives. But no matter how it comes, the call is always there, and ignoring it, pretending it's not happening, is simply delaying the inevitable. Because here's the thing, your soul knows what it came here to do. Your soul has a mission, a purpose, and when you're not aligned with that purpose, you'll feel it. You'll feel the deep sense of dissatisfaction, of something missing, no matter how successful or comfortable your life appears on the surface. So, what do you do when the call comes? How do you respond when you feel the stirrings of awakening within you? The first step is to stop resisting. Stop trying to control the process. Stop trying to force things to stay the same. The more you resist, the more painful the process becomes. Instead, lean into the discomfort and let yourself feel the emotions that are coming up. Let yourself question everything. And here's a question for you to ponder. What are you most afraid of losing if you surrender to your spiritual awakening? Is it your sense of control, your identity, your relationships? Because whatever it is, that fear is exactly where your growth lies. The thing you're most afraid of losing is often the very thing that's holding you back. One of the most difficult, yet transformative lessons of a spiritual awakening is the power of letting go. We hold on to so many things, our beliefs, our identities, our attachments to people, places, and things because they give us a sense of security. But here's the paradox: the more you hold on, the more you suffer. True freedom comes when you learn to let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or losing everything. It means releasing your attachment to how you think things should be. It's about trusting that the universe has a much bigger plan for you than your limited human mind can comprehend. When you let go, you create space for something new, something greater to enter your life. And think of it like this: if your hands are full, you can't receive anything new. You're clinging to what you already have, even if it's no longer serving you. But when you let go, when you open your hands, you make room for new opportunities, new experiences, new levels of growth. And that's what a spiritual awakening is all about. It's about making room for a higher level of consciousness, for a deeper connection to your true self. But letting go isn't easy. It requires trust. It requires faith. And it requires you to confront the fears that have been keeping you stuck. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that you know you need to release? What would happen if you finally let it go? After the storm of a spiritual awakening, something remarkable happens. Once you've navigated through the emotional turbulence, confronted your fears, and released the things that no longer serve you, there's a profound sense of calm that begins to settle in. It's as if, for the first time, you're able to see the world and yourself with crystal clarity. This is the gift of spiritual awakening. It's not about becoming someone entirely new or transforming into some idealized version of yourself. Rather, it's about returning to the essence of who you've always been, your true self, the one that's been buried beneath layers of conditioning, expectations, and societal pressures, finally comes to the surface. When you stop ignoring the signs of awakening and allow yourself to go through the process, you reach a place of alignment, a state where you're no longer constantly battling against the flow of life. You stop trying to control everything, and instead, you start to align your actions, thoughts, and desires with something much deeper, your soul's purpose. This sense of alignment brings a kind of peace that's hard to describe but impossible to ignore. It's not the fleeting peace that comes from external circumstances, like achieving a goal or acquiring something you've wanted. It's a peace that comes from within, and knowing that you're exactly where you're meant to be, doing exactly what you're meant to do. What does it feel like to live in alignment with your true self? For one, life becomes more effortless. That doesn't mean you won't face challenges or difficult situations, but when you're aligned, you stop resisting those challenges. You understand that every obstacle, every hardship is part of your growth. Instead of seeing life as something happening to you, you begin to see it as something happening for you. Every experience, good or bad, is an opportunity to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world around you. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start recognizing that, on some level, you are a co-creator of your reality. And this is where the true power of awakening lies, in the realization that you are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it. When you're aligned with your true self, you start to see the interconnectedness of everything. You realize that the same energy that flows through the stars, the oceans, and the trees also flows through you. This understanding brings a deep sense of responsibility, but it's not the kind of responsibility that feels heavy or burdensome. It's the responsibility of knowing that your actions, your thoughts, and your energy have the power to influence not only your own life, but the world around you. One of the most beautiful aspects of living in alignment is how it transforms your relationships. When you're connected to your true self, you attract people who are also on a similar path. Your relationships become more authentic, more meaningful, because you're no longer trying to fit into roles or meet expectations that don't resonate with who you really are. You stop engaging in relationships out of fear, obligation, or guilt, and instead, you seek out connections that uplift, inspire, and challenge you to grow. But here's the secret: the most important relationship that's transformed during a spiritual awakening is the relationship you have with yourself. The more you align with your true self, the more you learn to love and accept yourself unconditionally. You stop judging yourself so harshly. You stop comparing yourself to others. You begin to see your flaws, your wounds, and your mistakes not as reasons to feel ashamed or unworthy, but as integral parts of your journey. You realize that every part of you, the light and the dark, the strengths and the weaknesses, is valuable. Every part of you has something to teach you. And when you embrace all of who you are, you stop looking for validation from the outside world. You stop needing others to approve of you or to tell you that you're enough. You know you're enough, just as you are. Another incredible gift of awakening is the way it changes your perspective on life's purpose. Many people spend their entire lives searching for meaning, chasing after goals, achievements, or material success, hoping that once they reach a certain milestone, they'll finally feel fulfilled. But the irony is that true fulfillment never comes from external achievements. It comes from living in alignment with your soul's purpose. And here's the beautiful part: your purpose doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing. It doesn't have to be tied to your career or your accomplishments. Your soul's purpose could be as simple as bringing more love, compassion, or joy into the world. It could be about healing your own wounds so that you can help others heal theirs. It could be about expressing your creativity, connecting with nature, or simply being present in the moment, fully appreciating the gift of life. When you live in alignment with your true self, you start to see that every moment holds meaning. You stop waiting for the big moments to feel fulfilled, and instead, you find fulfillment in the small, everyday experiences. You start to appreciate the beauty in the mundane, in a conversation with a loved one, in the warmth of the sun on your skin, in the simple act of breathing. Life becomes richer, more vibrant, because you're living from a place of connection, gratitude, and presence. But here's something important to remember. Spiritual awakening isn't a one-time event. It's not something that happens to you once and then you're done. Awakening is a process, a continual unfolding of deeper layers of understanding, growth, and self-awareness. There will be times when you feel completely aligned, when everything flows effortlessly, and then there will be times when you feel lost, confused, or disconnected again. I had shut up a big head frequency of low or be liquidly scrolled like, and that's okay. It's all part of the journey. The key is to trust the process, to know that every time you feel thrown off course, it's just another opportunity to grow, to learn, and to deepen your connection with your true self. So, let me ask you this. Are you ready to embrace the gift of awakening? Are you ready to stop ignoring the signs and start living in alignment with your true self? Because once you do, you'll discover that everything you've been searching for, peace, purpose, fulfillment, has been within you all along. The universe has been waiting for you to wake up, and now it's your turn to answer the call.